All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. We're just gonna do our quick audio checks, make sure everything is good before we dive into the topics. Just double checking right now. Okay, I think we're solid. All right, guys. Cool. All right, guys, welcome back to the live stream. I am again still behind on schedule by one session, I believe, right now. Today is going to be 12 and 13. So today's the 16th. I should be on this one. So I'm behind by one section. Hopefully I'll catch up soon. But anyways, today is going to be sections 12 and 13. So we're going to go through development and use of interoperability/exchange standards, for which examples are the FHIR and DICOM standards. And then the section 13 is development and use of transaction standards. Example is ANSI X12. This should be fun. There's so much we can talk about with FHIR. I don't even know how much I can get through with this, so it's probably going to be just like bare bones, if anything. But development and use. Maybe this is more about the development side of it, so maybe I'll stick to that, because I imagine there's probably going to be more. Let me see. Oh, maybe not. Let me take a look. Is there more use of standards down later on? Let's take a look. Standards, development use. Standards related to retrieval. Huh. This looks like they might be the only one that talks about it. Resource interoperability. Oh, surprising. Maybe it's not. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. I would have thought that they talked more about it, but maybe they don't. Well, anyways, we'll see how far we can get, because we can talk for a long time on FHIR. So we'll just go ahead and get started with this. Let's do basic Google search. As always, we'll start with that. See where it leads us. This looks okay. AHIMA, Building Interoperability Standards. Oh. Dr. Orlova was one of my professors. She's the one that actually taught me about a lot of these standards. So she's super awesome. I don't remember which country she was from. She wasn't originally from the United States, but she did a lot of work here in the US in helping us establish informatics, like a lot of this stuff that we see here as it pertains to interoperability. So let me see if they can see here number of individual standards. What were we looking for again? It was development and use of interoperability and exchange standards. Interoperability. FHIR is not in there. Development interoperability standards. I kind of want to use that one because that one does cover all of them. But let me take a look if there's some other stuff. Development interoperability standards advisory. Nope. I'm looking for something else. Standards and interoperability. So specifically interoperability and exchange standards. Maybe I'll be a little bit more focused and just talk about these first. Like there's so many, actually, you know what? I'll do a couple things. I will do like a general overview, because it's not just FHIR and DICOM, and then I'll do a targeted one for each. Interoperability, resources, and then we're going to do digital imaging and communications and medicine. Like there's definitely more, but maybe I'll come back to this eventually. So we'll do the general one, and the one that not this one, where was it? The one article, yeah, this one that Dr. Orlova was involved in, does a pretty good job of painting all the different types of standards out there, and I think this is probably pretty good. Let's read through this. Anyone who has ever developed a standard knows well the many challenges that must be surmounted. Once a standard is published, however, it's not the end, but in many respects only the beginning. Moving standards from specification to practice requires an equivalent, if not greater effort, as does ensuring the standard are not stuck at a point in time but are living, and are periodically updated to reflect experience from users as well as advances in the state of the art, health information communication technology. More importantly, individual standards have to work together to enable information sharing and interoperability across various health information and communication technology products. The results of 16 years of standards development has led the International Organization of Standardization Technical Committee 215 Health Informatics to the practical realization that a bundle of individual standards is required to create interoperable health IT standards that will ensure adoption and sustainability. So, so there's 3 different categories of interoperability. Semantic interoperability, which includes data standards like vocabularies and terminologies, information standards like reference information models, information templates, and others. Technical interoperability, which is information exchange standards, message-based and document-based, individual identifier standards, privacy and security standards. Functional interoperability. Functional standards required for the health information and communication technology derived from the analysis of the use case, and business process standards, guidelines and best practice described in the use cases. Let's see, number of individuals included in biosurveillance. Okay. Probably should close my email. Where was the individual? That's not. I might just take these 3. So, development and use of interoperability standards. I think we'll just go ahead and do this article. Go ahead and give this a cite. Building interoperability standards, and I'm just going to copy and paste. This is the key piece right here, knowing all these different standards. Because Fire and DICOM both fit into these categories. Go ahead and cite this. Building interoperability. There you go. That's nicely cited. I'm going to grab the link. Go ahead and link this out. Okay. Functional. Data. What was the one here? Functional interoperability. And this one, privacy and security standards. Wasn't really technical. Okay. So this is the key piece, and then I believe Fire was in information exchange standards, and then DICOM I think was a data standard, like a. Let me just confirm. Fire is a exchange, information exchange. Fire information exchange standard. I'm pretty sure it's an information exchange standard. standard fire data exchange. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is like fire information exchange, message base. Example is fire. And then DICOM. DICOM, what type of standard is DICOM? It's a message standard. Specification for integrating between computer systems. Store, retrieve, management of medical information and related data. Storing and transmitting. Oh, so it's not a, it wasn't a vocabulary, I got that wrong. It's, both of these should be information exchange standards. Semantic. Examples, fire and DICOM. Okay, so we'll do that, and then we're gonna dive a little deeper into this. Maybe we don't need to dive in development and use of interoperability exchange standards. You know what? Maybe we don't need to dive into fire and DICOM now, because there's so many that can go into here. Examples of like data standards are RxNorm, Loink, SNOMED. I feel like it would be a disservice to not include the other ones. So I wonder if there's another document that's more generalized that I can reference. CDC, interoperability. What is interoperability? Standards aid, what are the 4 levels? What standards? Development and use of interoperability standards. Nope. To be able to renaming. So, achieving true healthcare interoperability across the care continuum is top priority for providers, payers, and other key industry stakeholders. Seamless, comprehensive data sharing is particularly important for healthcare organizations looking to incentivize payments through the CMS Promoting Interoperability Program, formerly known as Meaningful Use. Such number of different standard organizations and maintain health standards. This is good. Again, the topic was development and use of interoperability. According to him, interoperability describes the extent to which systems and devices can exchange data and interpret that shared data. For 2 systems to be interoperable, they must be able to exchange data and subsequently present that data such that it can be understood by a user. There are 3 levels: foundational, structural, and semantic. Standards offer health IT developers, vendors, and healthcare organizations the means to ensure health IT systems and devices can exchange data successfully. ONC is currently responsible for curating the sets of standards and implementation specifications developed by independent industry groups such as Health Level 7 International, HL7, and Direct Trust. The federal agencies, this is actually a perfect document. This is probably what we need. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so let's go ahead and cite this. This is a pretty good document that talks about the development and use of different interoperability standards. And it was specific to interoperability exchange. And the next one was transaction standards, like X12, HL7, data models. It's probably some of this is probably gonna cover all of them. Interoperability exchange ones. So this is probably just talking about technical interoperability then, in this case. No, some of these other ones. Okay, let's just go ahead and cite this. So we did this, how healthcare data, should be a pretty easy section. Maybe we'll read through this since we are probably going to be ahead of time if we just use this. I'm going to remove all this. Give this a site. Health data. Okay. Come on. Move this over, and then we're gonna read this once we have all this pasted in here. There's a lot. Oops. This functional, structural. Some of this is going to be like duplicative of the stuff we did just the day before, but that's okay. Alright, so this should be good. Move this back over here. So which ones? So we did this, and then paste it here. So we have fire in here. So direct secure messaging. Be a lot of reading. Okay, almost done. Then what we can do is just read through the fire one, and then maybe one other, because this might be longer than I expected. Problems with standards in development. So SDOs have developed numerous implement change to meet these. Development and use. You know what? Maybe I'll copy and paste both of these. I think it's very important that this information is known too. Let me hit agree on here. Okay. So we got that. One more section to go. Close out of this, and then we should go. This could be the last section. Okay, house healthcare use. Oops. No, this is another one. Consider to adopt healthcare. This is another section. Participate in standards development processes. Okay, cool. I think we're good here. Let's go ahead and do some reading, and then we're going to move on to the next section. So let us start back from the top. This we should be familiar with already, since we've already gone through these. This is like the third time going through the different types of interoperability. So let us go through development and use. So which health standards can help to boost interoperability? Standards offer health IT developers. We went through this at first. ISA was most recently updated in 2018 to include standards improvements based on recommendations from stakeholders and subject matter experts. There are 3 major industry standards that mainly support foundational and structural interoperability. Consolidated Clinical Document Architecture, or CCDA, was developed by HL7, integrating the healthcare environment AHIC, the Health Story Project, and ONC. CCDA creates clinical documents that contain both human-readable text and machine-readable extensive markup language, XML, according to ONC. According to HL7, CCDA offers users a library of templates and prescribes their use for specific document types. The standard provides a single source of clinical document architecture templates for 12 structured document types and 1 unstructured document type. CDA is a document markup standard that specifies the structure and semantics of clinical documents for the purposes of exchange. Health IT developers, health information exchanges, immunization registries, SDOs, EHR vendors, and healthcare organizations use CCDAs to share information. Healthcare providers use CCDAs to send continuity of care documents, consultation notes, diagnostic imaging reports, discharge summaries, history and physical summaries, operative notes, procedure notes, progress notes, and unstructured documents to enable well-informed decision-making. Fun fact, part of the stuff that I do includes building CDAs, where we build CDAs to submit hospital-acquired infections, and then also antimicrobial use and resistance information, and also like reporting of like COVID infections to the CDC. That's how all hospitals communicate to our government agencies, using the CDA structure. Healthcare providers use CCDAs to send, we just read that. Healthcare organizations first began using the CCDA standard about 3 years after ONC released the 2014 edition Health IT certification rule in 2012, according to Executive Director of the Office of Technology, Stephen Posnack. The 2015 edition final rule includes certification criteria to the implementation, usability, and quality of CCDAs. Providers were also required to implement CCDAs to fulfill Stage 2 meaningful use requirements. 2 of the 7 meaningful use objectives required healthcare organizations to use CEHRT that has CCDA capabilities. So that's the first thing. Definitely know CCDAs. Direct secure messaging. Direct messaging allows providers to send and receive health information securely over the internet. Direct Trust, a collaborative nonprofit industry alliance, supports health data exchange using the direct message standard. Like CCDA, direct is a form of document-based exchange. The most important thing to know about direct health information exchange is that it is just like email, but with an added layer of security and trust in identity operating behind the scenes, explains Direct Trust on its website. This makes direct exchange of messages and attachments suitable for electronic sharing of personal health information, PHI, which HIPAA requires must remain private and confidential at all times. Direct exchange is based on a set of specifications protocols called the Direct Standard. The standard was developed in 2010 by an ONC-sponsored public-private collaboration called the DIRECT project. Direct Trust has also created a security and trust framework that supports provider-to-provider direct exchange and bidirectional data exchange between patients and providers. Direct Trust solves the problem of trust. As Hospital B, how do you trust Hospital A is reliable for health information exchange without having to negotiate the terms of the security and trust and identity controls in place in both environments or register a party interested in communicating? If Hospital A is making a query to Hospital B, the Direct Trust framework provides FHIR users with that first connection that says, I'm knocking on your door and here's a credential that proves I am who I say I am in cyberspace. The Direct Trust Alliance currently includes 117 member organizations, and the Direct Trust Network includes over 120,000 healthcare organizations in the U.S. and its territories. Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resource, FHIR, is an internet-based data standard developed and maintained by HL7. FHIR is designed to connect different discrete data elements. Data elements, or resources, are assigned, standardized, shareable identifiers that function like the URL of a web page. Resources can include metadata, text, or particular data elements. This enables discrete data sharing rather than document-based exchange. The philosophy behind FHIR is to build a base set of resources that either by themselves or when combined satisfy the majority of common use cases. FHIR resources aim to define the information contents and structure for the core information set that is shared by most implementations. FHIR has quickly become one of the most popular standards for enabling structural and, in some cases, semantic interoperability. Most major AHR vendors have invested in the standard, which has helped to publicize the approach and cement FHIR as a leading method for data exchange. You don't have to sell the idea of FHIR anymore. People get it. It has become part of the infrastructure and accepted part of the world of healthcare. FHIR, in conjunction with standardized application programming interfaces, APIs, allow developers to create apps that can plug into EHR systems and deliver information directly into the provider workflow. FHIR is about making the relevant data more available and more usable directly. When you make data more available, you create opportunities to inform better clinical and administrative decisions. Everyone wins when you enable that. Problems with standards adoption. Let me see if there's any nuggets I can pull out of this before we move on. Let's read this part. While Direct has been well-known industry standard since 2010, FHIR has only begun generating buzz among stakeholders in the past few years. Many stakeholders regard FHIR as the industry's best bet for fulfilling provisions of the 21st Century Cures Act that prompt healthcare organizations to allow individuals to send and access the health information without special effort. Industry experts agree the standard has the potential to help healthcare organizations achieve structural interoperability. However, FHIR comes with its own challenges. According to Diameter Health President and Chief Strategy Officer John Demore, EHR vendors do not implement FHIR specifications consistently. As a result, medications may be sent from one EHR system using a specific clinical domain, but the receiving EHR may not have medications available in that resource. The receiving EHR may try to patch medications into a different resource. That's one of the impediments of FHIR. Using different versions of FHIR can further complicate structural interoperability. It's not good to have multiple versions of FHIR because you can't achieve the ultimate goal of getting different health systems to communicate consistently across different platforms, he said. So how can we improve standards use? So one is to adopt 2015 edition certified EHR technology. To achieve the 2015 ONC Health IT certifications, EHR vendors must ensure their products offerings meet all of the certification criteria as well as the 2015 edition base EHR definition. Certified Health IT that fulfills the 2015 edition base EHR definition must be capable of facilitating health data exchange and access through enhanced data export capabilities. Systems must include functionality that supports transitions of care and allow third parties to connect to health IT products through an API. Additionally, two 2015 criteria require that health IT includes the capabilities that promote the consistency and usability of CCDAs. The CCDA creation performance certification criteria requires vendors' software to generate CCDAs that meet the expectations of a gold standard reference file. Additionally, health IT must ensure required data within CCDAs is structured the right way and in the right place. This is fine. Collaborate with EHR vendors to promote uniform standards adoption and implementation. So it says this one, a health system collaborated with Cerner to implement FHIR in a way that expanded population health management capabilities of their EHR system and eliminated data silos. Participate in standards development processes. Stakeholders have the opportunity to submit feedback to ISA and weigh in on interoperability standards and implementation specifications. ISA includes standards used to promote interoperability in public health, health research, patient care, delivery, and administrative tasks in healthcare. These standards are updated regularly in an effort to meet the interoperability needs of a broad range of organizations. To ensure that industry input is a core component of a decision-making process, the agency holds annual public comment periods that allow providers, developers, and other interested parties to contribute their ideas to the standards community. Yeah, I think that is good enough for all of this. Let me see. We go back up here, copy and paste link. Let's go ahead and move on to the next, which is use of transaction standards. I'm not really that comfortable with transaction standards, so this should be kind of fun. Transaction standards, X12. So let's see if this does a good job. What do ANSI, ASC, X12, and RSCI mean? The American National Standards Institute, ANSI, is a nonprofit organization that controls the development of standards for processes, services, and products in the United States. ANSI also synchronizes U.S. standards with international standards so that American products can be used all over the world. X12 overview. Chartered by the ANSI for over 40 years, X12 develops and maintains EDI standards and XML schemas that govern business processes around the world. X12 is comprised of thousands of experts representing over 600 companies from various industries. X12 membership is open to any organization, company, or even individual who directly and materially affected by X12 activities. To facilitate the exchange of business transactions, X12 members regularly optimize the EDI standard. X12 consists of two committees: Accredited Standards Committee, Registered Standards Committee. Since 1979, the Accredited Standards Committee has been developing and maintaining the X12 standard, which can be represented as U.S. National Standards or UN-EDI FACT International Electronic Data Interchange Standards. The ASC is composed of different subcommittees: Communications and Control, Finance, Transportation, Technical Assessment, Supply Chain, and Insurance. Registered Standards Committee. The RSC is responsible for the development and support of X12 work products for various industries, but is not intended to be represented as U.S. national standards. What is EDI, ANSI, ASC, X12 standards? Sometimes called the EDI, ASC, X12, ANSI, X12, ASC, X12, or simply the X12 standard. X12 is a set of standards and rules that determine a specific syntax for structuring and transferring electronically business documents between partners. There are different types of business documents in EDI, which are often called transaction sets. The transaction set is a single business document such as purchase order, invoice, student educational record, healthcare claim, ship notice. There are hundreds of transaction sets available in ANSI, ASC, X12 standards. Each set of transaction standard is identified by a 3 digits code number. Invoice is 810, purchase order is 850, ship notice 856. Transaction set structure. Many X12 transaction sets have 3 parts. The segments that can be used in each of these parts in a particular document, such as the invoice, are listed in the related tables defined in the X12 standards document. For example, in the header area, there's a transaction detail area, and then there's a summary area. Segments and sequence. The following purchase order example shows which segments can be used in the transaction set in the desired sequence of segments. Transaction set header, beginning set header, currency, reference identification, Interesting. Beginning and ending transaction sets. So this is like a good example of a trend. This was a transaction standard, right? Yeah. So let's do that. Overview of the ANSI X12 standard. Go ahead and cite this. ANSI X12. X12 link. All right, give this a link, and then I wonder if there's just a more broader overview that we can talk about the use of transaction standards. View of transaction standards. Let's see, HIPAA. Good old Wikipedia. Develops and maintains the electronic data interchange and context-inspired standards along with XML schemas. I wonder if this is like the main one. It probably is. Most industries in the US use the EDI X12 standard for electronic data interchange. So if you're looking to perform automated business transactions in the US, you have to be familiar with it. As you probably know by now, EDI or electronic data interchange allows two trading partners to exchange electronic business documents using a common format. One of the widely accepted formats is EDI X12, developed by the ANSI Accreditations Committee. EDI X12 or X12 came into being in 1979, has since been adopted by various industries. So we have business software processes, file transfer server, electronic data interchange, file transfer servers. So this is just a way to allow two different companies to talk, or for businesses to talk to each other. There are different types of EDI documents. Each one corresponds to a real-world business document like invoice, price sales catalog, healthcare claim, purchase order, airship information, vehicle shipping order, business credit report, shipment information, many others. X12 and healthcare. One industry that makes extensive use of EDI X12 is healthcare. In fact, the use of ASC X12 is an integral part of the HIPAA transactions and code set rules. HIPAA was crafted to significantly improve efficiency in the U.S. healthcare system. The government decided that the best way to do it was to standardize the transactions being carried out in the industry through EDI. The key EDI X12 transactions sets specified by HIPAA include the following: healthcare claim transaction, payments, benefit enrollment and maintenance, payroll deducted, healthcare eligibility. This is the key transaction sets. Other EDI standards. While ASC is the de facto EDI standard in the US, there are also other standards out there. Some of the most popular ones are EDI FACT, the most widely used EDI standard outside the US, Traded Comms used by the UK retail industry, and ODET used by the European automotive industry. Need to exchange transaction sets. That means they need to have a method of transmitting those EDI documents across the state, across the country, or across the globe. Some of the most commonly used methods include the use of a modem, email, the use of a value-added network, general purpose file transfer, OFTP. The last two methods are actually file transfer protocols that was purposely designed for transmitting EDI. These protocols already come with security functions like electronic return receipts, data, encryption in motion, and digital certificates. We suggest you click those two links to learn more about the capabilities. Interesting. So you probably don't need to know much beyond X12 for the purposes of transaction standards. So I think a couple of things is important for this. One is where is it? Here it is. Knowing this, that the X12 is the de facto standard in the US, but knowing some of the other transaction standards that exist outside is probably really good to know. Go back here. Let's go ahead and cite this as what is EDI. Okay. And I don't think I'm gonna go through it too much. Like, how much we have? 40 minutes. Maybe I'll put in a couple more other like nuggets here. So it says de facto EDI standard in the US. These are some of the things to know. Close this. Healthcare, this would be good to know too. Okay. This is good. Okay, so what are the ways of exchanging? Probably good to know the ways of exchanging as well. Actually, that might be a little too detailed, but just to be thorough, put this in there. Oops. Okay, so do this. Cool. So that's ways of exchanging. I think parts from X12. Use of X12 in healthcare. Let's put that in there. Oops. Learn something new. So X12 is the primary thing for, what is X12? Business processes, or exchanging information between two businesses. And it makes sense because healthcare is a business. There's lots of different business documents that must be transacted or transmitted from one business to another. So it's good to know. Yeah, I mean, I learned about X12 in some of my classes, but I never really like dug into the details like this. It's just a lot. Okay, I think that's it. I mean, I don't think you really need to know too much beyond that. Just having an understanding that X12 is a standard that allows for exchanging business documents, like good to know examples in healthcare. Claim transactions, benefit inquiries, and again, these are transaction sets. Realizing that X12 is the de facto EDI standard in the US, but these other ones exist internationally. I don't know if this is extremely important, like the different segments of X12. It's probably good for reference just to know like the different pieces. Or maybe not. I don't think that detail is necessary, but just to be thorough. Ways of exchanging, just to be thorough again, and then if anyone wants to dig into the more details about X12, it's got that link. I think that's it. these are the two sections, I think, for today, right? 12 and 13. Yep. Probably going to end the live stream early today. I don't think too much more information is needed. I think this covers the gist of it. And then eventually I'll catch back up. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to end the live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope it was helpful and you guys learned something. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.